Okay. Chair Owens,
Yes,
can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. It is 7 o'clock, so when you're ready, you can call your meeting to order.
Okay, good evening, gentlemen, planning commissioners. We're going to call to order the virtual meeting Wednesday, July 14, 2021. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hume,
Present.
Commissioner Silva, Commissioner Evans, Commissioner LaMica, Commissioner Dodson,
Present.
Vice Chair Spoletta,
Present.
Chair Owens.
Present.
You do have a quorum.
Very good. That's all we can ask for. Okay, you wanted to introduce Amanda Rotella?
Yes,
I hope I didn't butcher her last name badly.
Yes, no, we have our new community development director, Amanda Rotella, who just started on Monday. And she's going to tell us a little bit about herself.
Thank you, Dana. And yes, it's Rotella. You totally nailed it. Italian. Yes, I'm Amanda Rotella, and I'm coming to you from the city of Santa Cruz, and incredibly excited to be here and joining the community development team. And I am stepping into the assistant city manager role, but I'm assigned to community development. And so we'll have lots of opportunity to work with this commission, and yeah, just incredibly excited to be jumping in to all of the different projects and initiatives that you have in place. And so here as a resource and support for the work that you're doing. And yeah, here if you need anything.
Well, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
And as you can see, the other commissioners are anxious to see where we go. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on. Review of agenda items. If there's any items that arose after the 72-hour posting deadline, this is the point in the meeting where a vote may be taken to add them item to the agenda. 2 to 3 majority vote is required. Dominique, anything? Or Beth?
No, sir.
Thank you, Beth. Okay, public comment. Members of the public wishing to address the board on matters within the jurisdiction of the city of Seaside but not on the agenda may do so during the public comment period for up to 3 minutes. Public comments on specific agenda items are heard under that item. For the public record, please state your name. Do we have anybody that's showing for public comment?
Members of the public, if you wish to make public comment, please use the raise your hand feature or dial *9 if you're calling in from a phone. Chair, no members of the public have indicated they wish to make comment at this time.
Okay, public comment is open. Public comment is open. We are closing public comment. Public comment is closed. Approval of minutes. Approval of June 23rd, 2021 meeting minutes. Commissioners?
I move to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second. I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I don't think we need to take a hand roll call, do we?
Yes, we will need to take a roll call vote of the commissioners present. Commissioner Hume?
Okay,
Aye.
Dominique, really quick, let everybody know that Commissioner Evans has come aboard.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Evans is now noted as present.
Thank you.
Commissioner Hume?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Micah?
Mike, she's asking if you're for your vote. We can't hear you.
I thought she said Commissioner LaMica. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Maybe-
Aye.
Commissioner Dodson?
Aye.
Chair Owens?
Aye. Very good. Minutes are
Thank you.
needed.
Your motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Dominique. Okay, business items. A, Board of Architectural Review application number BAR 21-05, Jose Fluentes, applicant and property owners requesting architectural review approval for the construction of a single-story, single-family resident at 1787 Laguna Street. The old house will be demolished and replaced with a new 1,217 square foot house with attached 408 square foot garage. Go ahead, staff.
Hello, commissioners. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Wonderful. All right. So this is a Board of Architectural Review application for a house located on Laguna Street, just at the corner of San Pablo and Laguna. We have our map here below. This is in the single family residential RS12 district, and all of the surrounding residential uses are residential. This house was purchased in 2020 by the applicant and property owner, Jose Fuentes. The existing house, you can see photos of, it is in the process of being demolished. It was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, single story. It had a carport of some sort of some design that has been removed since then, and then a 918 square foot total square footage for that two bedroom. So the new house, which will be constructed, is 1,217 square feet. It will also be a single story. It'll have 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a 2-car garage, and then a square foot front porch patio, which is open on 2 sides. This is the proposed site plan. You can see the 2-car garage with the concrete driveway, bedroom, master bedroom, 3rd bedroom, and then the living room, dining room, and kitchen. This is the existing floor plan and the existing elevations. And the applicant is proposing to basically tear down and rebuild with this new structure. We have our front facade, which is well articulated. We have these columns, which create the front area for the porch. We have eyebrow and arched windows for above the colonials. We have a new 2-car garage. And then we have new roofing, new stucco for the sides. I'll get down to materials later on, but this just gives you a view of the elevations. From the rear, slider door to go out to the rear patio. This is the northern elevation, so entrance into the garage. And then here's a side view, which kind of shows you the depth of that front patio. So the applicant proposes to have the main house be painted stucco, this misty, it's called Misty X17. So it's a tan color. And then the details will be this French vanilla. And then this dark brown here, pop back over here, is going to be in this soffits up here in the 2 main frontages. The roof is proposed to be tile. The earth tone canyon red blend. And then I had mentioned the windows, so it'll have some architectural pop. It will have a white garage door, and then these are the proposed exterior lighting. So this is just a view of some of the houses in the neighborhood. The house immediately to the north is a 2-story. The proposed new structure is going to be 19 feet and 11 inches total, so well under the 24-foot height limit, and in keeping with the heights of most of the other structures throughout the neighborhood. It will be an improvement to the neighborhood, kind of a similar color scheme to the house that's immediately to the south or to the left of the property, but different, having more of a kind of Spanish style with the tiles. The newly proposed house has been designed to be consistent in quality and scale with the architectural relationship of the neighboring houses, and it does meet appropriate setbacks. It has a 15-foot front and rear setback, and then a 5-foot side setback for both sides. The front yard does contain a concrete driveway for accessing the 2-car garage, as well as a concrete pathway which extends to the sidewalk itself. Rather than actually connecting to the driveway, which is a requirement of the single-family residential design guidelines. The front landscaping will consist of an existing tree, which will be retained, and then a proposed olive tree, which will be located here. The proposed lot coverage for the front yards does not exceed 65%, which is a requirement of the single family design guidelines. The garage is front facing, as the site's not large enough to accommodate a detached or alley accessed garage. It's a very small lot. A condition of approval has been added to require the protection of the existing tree that is remaining. If the tree should fail, it isn't in the happiest condition right now, they will be required to replace it with a 25-gallon tree from the city's recommended plant list. So the neighborhood has a variety of architectural styles and colors. The project plans for the residential reconstruction have been designed to respect the surrounding residential patterns and scale in the neighborhood. The physical size of the massing of the project is proportional to the lot, and it's compatible with the scale and mass of the neighboring residences. The new design includes columns created by the front porch, as well as arched and eyebrow windows, which help create a visual depth and character. The new front porch columns and windows combine to create an articulated dominant front facade. And the varying heights of the front porch roof line, garage roof line, and the main structure's roof line helps to break up the massing and avoids the look of a box-like structure. As I mentioned with the landscaping plan, so specifically keeping the tree that's existing here in the southern corner, and then proposing a new olive tree in the front, as well as St. Augustine's, which is a drought-tolerant, low water use grass, and then mulch as well. And then there are conditions of approval to maintain the landscaping in the front. And so if it ever becomes a problem, they can replace with further low water use plans, but we need to submit those revised landscape plans to the planning department for approval. Overall, staff feels the proposed house would result in improvement to the existing property, adding to the overall aesthetic of the neighborhood. Staff does recommend approval of the application based on the draft resolution and attachment 2, which is the project plans. And I'm happy to answer any questions. And I do believe Mr. Fuentes is on and is available to answer questions as well.
Very good. Commissioners, anything for staff? Very good, Dana. Very good job.
Thank you.
Seeing nothing from staff, we'll go ahead and open it up to the applicant.
If the applicant could raise your hand to identify yourself. Chair, no one has raised their hand to identify themselves as the applicant.
Okay, we'll bring it back to the commissioners then. I personally have no problem with it. I think it's an upgrade and it beautifies the area. It's built within the boundaries, so I have no problem with it. Commissioners?
I agree that I have no problem with it, other than just a question. I do know, having lived in areas that have palm trees as part of the landscaping, that they can be kind of messy, especially if they end up on the sidewalk where people step on them and sort of swash them in. So, and I noticed on that drawing we saw, they're right up against the sidewalk. So I was just wondering if there were some plans in place to keep that from happening. Not a major thing, but it's just something I noticed.
We can require them, if you're concerned about it, we can require them to set it back further or choose a different tree from the approved plant list. It's really your choice. If that's something you're concerned about, we can modify the conditions.
Yeah, well, I don't want to be petty about this. It's just something I noted. I don't know how the rest of the commissioners feel about it.
Very good. Commissioner Hun, I've seen you had your hand up.
Yeah, just question. Are they going to keep the existing white fence, or are they going to change it? Just curious.
I believe they're planning to keep the existing white fence,
okay,
at least for now.
Commissioner Evans, anything?
Yeah, my only question is probably really a question for Dana. I think the design is fantastic.
You're cutting out.
And the fixtures
Sorry,
are great.
could you repeat that, Evans? You cut out for part of that.
You know, and I apologize for being a couple minutes late, but I was trying to get on for about 10 minutes, so it may be my connection's just bad tonight. I apologize. I think it's great design. I think, especially for that particular lot. My only question is the Spanish style roof, the tiles. It's broken up a little bit with the garage and the front entrance, but it's still, at least on the drawing on that one page where he's showing the front and the rear elevations, that is a mass of red tile on a street and in an area that I don't remember. You know, I didn't take notes about that particularly, but as I was driving around the area, it was basically asphalt shingle roofs from what I could tell.
Mhm.
And I'm not advocating asphalt roofs for this. And personally, I love tile roofs, but it just looks like a mass. So my question really, Dana, is, was there any consideration about the mass of that roof?
No, it did look large, but in my thought, it was going to kind of stand out and almost be like an architectural feature, kind of eye-catching and give it that Spanish style. But that I am not I'm a planner, not an architect. So you are the board. So if you want to maybe adjust the pitch or something along those lines, it's something you can discuss and propose, but
Yeah, not a proposal as much as just a question of whether the architect or planning talk to them about that. Because to me, it would fit in better in that neighborhood if it were, you know, especially if it matched the two on either side, kind of a black asphalt or gray asphalt, whatever tile roof. Whether that would then go with all their textures and finishes, I don't, you know, off the top of my head, I couldn't say. But it will definitely stand out. And if that's okay with everybody, I don't have a problem with it. Again, I really like the Spanish style look, but it ain't on that street. So that's my only concern.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner, Vice Chair Spalletta.
Yeah, I agree with Commissioner Evans. When I saw the rendering, I was like, whoa, that's quite a lot of Spanish tile. But then, of course, you know, it's a drawing. I'm thinking it's once we kind of start getting as it gets built, we're gonna get the perspective, and it'll kind of soften it out. And yeah, it'll improve the neighborhood, and it will stand out at first. But like some of these other homes that we see that are going up, I'm kind of hoping it inspires people. You know, that's what we want, a little bit of inspiration in different pockets. So I have no problem with it. So I think it was well done.
Thank you. Sorry. Thank you, Commissioner. Yeah, I agree. The roof does look a little large, but I look at the overall of the project, and you're taking a shack and you're putting a nice new house on it. So to me, kudos to the man for investing his money in the city of Seaside. I'm all for it. With that said, can we get a motion? We'll do the BAR first, and then we'll do the APN. So do I have anybody that can make a motion on it?
Chair Owens, can we call for public comment?
Oh, I am so sorry. That's not on my list right here for some reason. Okay, we'll open it up to public comment. Anybody wishing to speak on this matter will have 2 minutes to do so. Please state your name.
Please dial *9 if you're calling in from a phone, or use the raise your hand feature if you are on Zoom. Chair, at this time, no members of the public have indicated they wish to make public comment on this item.
Okay, public comment is still open on the BAR 21-05. Public comment is still open on BAR 21-05. Seeing no hands raised, we will close public comment and bring it back to commissioners. Commissioners, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve application BAR 21-05, 1787 Laguna Street.
Very good. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Hun,
Aye.
Commissioner Evans,
Aye.
Commissioner LaMica, Commissioner Dodson,
Aye.
Vice Chair Spalletta,
Aye.
and Chair Owens.
Aye.
Your motion passes unanimously.
Very good. Now we will take motion APN 012-812-016. Do we have a motion on that, or do we need to? I think we've seen everything staff has on it, so we can go ahead and decide on the APN.
Actually, no, we have one other.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
Let me get my slides. All right, so this is a Board of Architectural Review application. I think I have my apologies. I have the wrong number. This is 2108 bar application and a fence exception 2103, both for the same property, 1104 Broadway. So this is located at the corner of Terrace Street and Broadway. It's in the commercial mixed use district, CMX. So the existing property is developed with a mixed use property. The bottom is office and retail space, and then the second floor is residential. The surrounding uses are a multifamily residential development to the south, and then there is commercial development to the west. North is the proposed development area for the Ascent project, which will be hopefully breaking ground sometime this year. And then to the east is vacant land, and then further to that, additional commercial. So this was constructed in 1988. As I mentioned, the first floor is retail. The second floor used to be offices, but back in January 2018, the zoning administrator did approve the conversion of said office space to 7 multifamily residential dwelling units. So the use changed from commercial to mixed use. Currently, the applicant is proposing a Board of Architectural Review application for a fence. Board of Architectural Review under the current fence code is required for any fence that is proposed to be constructed in one of the commercial districts that's on the front property line or within 10 feet of the front property line. So it needs our approval. In addition, the applicant is applying for a fence exception to allow a 4-foot tall fence in the traffic safety visibility triangle. They're doing this because they've had an issue with transients cutting through the parking lot, loitering, leaving bottles in trash, walking through the landscaping. So at the moment, there's not really any landscaping. It's just brown patch dirt because people are always cutting through. So the applicant's hoping by putting up this proposed wall and fence will help reduce the behavior of people loitering and cutting through. So this is the overall site plan on the right, kind of showing the parking lot. What we're really focusing on here is the traffic safety visibility area. So this triangle in red shows where there's supposed to be no structure above 3.5 feet in height. We did route this out to the engineering department. The original proposal was proposing a 5-foot height. This was because the original proposal, the actual 2 feet on the top half of the wall / fence is going to be picket fence, which is fairly open and permeable. The engineering department was very worried about the timing of the traffic light at this corner and didn't want to have, even with this open kind of permeable fencing type. Yes?
Hey, Dana, I think we're on the wrong one here. We're on APN 12-812-016, which is I imagine the Planning Commission look at this house that we just were talking about. This is the unit over on Broadway.
You know, we already approved the Board of Architectural Review for the house on Laguna.
Okay, we didn't. We just, if you look back in the minutes, all we did was the BAR and we were going to do the APN right afterwards. But for some reason, we jumped to Broadway.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure what you're referring to.
Yeah, when I said the front porch of APN 012-812-016, we haven't approved that yet. That's what.
No. So that's just the APN is the assessor's parcel number for.
Okay, so that's not another. Okay.
No, that's not another approval. That's
my bad.
That's okay.
I want to make sure we're on the right ones.
Yes, no, so yes, this is the correct one. We're reviewing a Board of Architecture review and fence exception for a fence/wall combo at 1104 Broadway.
Very good. Okay, I'll move mine up then.
Apologies. All right, so the proposed fence originally for the entire proposed area where they're proposing to put in the fence, that was a horrible sentence, was originally 5 feet height, but the engineering department required that the fencing drop down to no more than 4 feet within the traffic safety visibility triangle. So the applicant did revise the plans to show this drop down where the height will go from 5 feet total with 2 feet of picket on a 3-foot stucco wall to a 1-foot picket fence on a 3-foot stucco wall, specifically in this traffic safety visibility triangle area. But the fence will run from the sidewalk here along Broadway and then around the parking lot. And so this is hopefully to prevent people from cutting through. Obviously, people can still come and walk through using the normal pathways, but the hope is this will also help protect future landscaping, which has been required as a condition of approval. With the zoning administrator approval that happened in 2018, they had been required to do landscaping. It doesn't look like that was followed through with. So I did follow up with the applicant. They are working to get a landscape plan together. I'm proposing to have it just returned to the planning department for review, but we can also revise it to condition to have it come back to the Board of Architecture review if you want. That's up to your discretion. So here's some photos of the site. As you can see, it's mostly dirt, but there are trees that have been conditioned to be retained and maintained and replaced if any of them should fail for some reason. So the wall will follow this concrete curb, and so it will be a 3-foot stucco wall with a 2-foot picket fence above. It will be black. Ooh, too far. My apologies. So it will be black for the picket, and then this stucco portion will be painted gray to match the second floor. The surrounding fences in the area are quite varied. As you know, most commercial properties in Seaside don't really have fencing, but I was able to find some examples. We do have a picket fence further up along Broadway here. You recently approved an application for a concrete mason unit wall with a picket fence above for a property in a similar kind of transitional neighborhood where you have residential and commercial at Seaside Garden Center. Overall, staff feels that the proposed design is in keeping with the existing structure. It is going to be echoing the colors of the second story, maintaining the black that's used for the handrails throughout the property, and has been conditioned to ensure the retention of trees and that the traffic safety visibility triangle does not have a height which exceeds 4 feet. Overall, the proposed fence height exception would provide additional protection and hopefully security to the existing commercial business. Staff recommends approval of the Board of Architecture review application and the fence exception subject to attachment 1, the draft resolution and conditions of approval, as well as the project plans, which are attachment 2. I'm happy to answer any questions, and I do believe both the applicant and property owner are on the meeting and available to answer questions.
Very good. Commissioners, anything for Dana? Go ahead, Mr. Commissioner Hun.
Yeah, I have a question. Is there any setback between the sidewalk to the, to the fence?
Yes, there is. There's only one portion where it comes directly up to the property line. Let me pull up. So here you can see the fence called out in red. So there's a 7-foot 8-inch setback here from Broadway, except for this portion where the fence goes right up to Broadway, where the path comes down. And then there's I believe it's a 46-inch setback. So just shy of 4-foot setback along Terrace Street from the edge of sidewalk.
Commissioners, anything for staff?
Question for Dana?
No?
Question
Oh.
for Dana?
I'm sorry, Commissioner Evans.
That's okay.
Go ahead.
Dana, I was a little confused when you were commenting about the landscaping. Is there a reason why the landscaping is not part of this project? I don't have a whole lot of recollection on this conversion and all that. I just remember it took a long time for it to get done. So I'm a little concerned that if we approve this fence, we're still going to have all that dirt out there if it isn't all one project. I don't know if that makes sense. But.
Well, you could say that you do want to look at it as one, and we could continue it to a meeting after they've provided said plans. I've required that it be submitted to the planning department. In speaking with the applicant, I was told that they've been working with a landscaper but hadn't finalized anything yet, but they were hoping to try and abate this issue sooner rather than later, which is why they moved forward with the fence and wall application. And then we conditioned them returning for landscaping approval.
Thanks, Dana.
Anything else, commissioners, for staff? Seeing nobody, we will open it up to public comment and the applicant.
Members of the public and or the applicant, please use the raise your hand feature to identify yourself or dial *9 if you're calling in from a phone. Nelson Vega, you now have the floor to speak.
Go ahead.
Mr. Vega, you can now, thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. The reason the landscape plan is separate is because we have to do all the parking lot and area. I do have tenants upstairs. We got approval to put tenants in there through the building department. And I put a lot of money into this building. I grew up in Seaside as a young kid, and it's probably one of the best apartments in the interior that you'll find in all of Monterey if you ever take a chance to take a look inside. But I plan to do the same with the outside, but it does, my partner and I believe in doing a lot of stuff with cash flow and cash. And so it's not like we just go to banks. So we're doing a lot of this stuff in cash flow, and we're improving the city quite a bit. And I'm one of the few people that are willing to put money in Seaside and provide rental housing as I have. So I'm hoping that the project across the street goes in, and it's a pretty handsome building, and I want to be a building that complements it. So I will be putting landscaping in. The trees, the pepper trees that are there have grown completely out of the ground, and they are tearing up the sidewalks and everything. So my challenge is whether I'm going to have to take some of those trees down and then replant new trees in there. And that's what I have a landscape person, or completely do something different that the city would approve. So at that point, I'll be coming back to you or to the planning commission to approve that. But I'd like to get the parking lot and all the hardscape set in, because I do have one ADA compliant unit there that I want to be sure that I'm always in compliance with. So that's why I'm asking them to be separated.
Real quick, Mr. Vega, I don't mean to interrupt, but is your partner Steve Mickle?
No, Steve Mickle is my contractor and architect. Steve Mickle works for me on this particular project, and he's done several projects for me all over the peninsula.
No, I'm just making sure, because Steve's a friend of mine, and I would have abstained myself from this if he was your partner. Just want to make sure.
No,
Okay.
He's not a partner. He has no vested interest in this building.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Anything for the applicant, commissioners? No? Okay, we'll open it up to public comment. Anybody wishing to speak on this matter may do so for up to 2 minutes. Please raise your hand.
The caller ending in 6068, you now have the floor to make your public comment. You can now unmute your phone.
Hello, this is Steve Mickle. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I'm the general contractor on the job. I think Dana pretty much and Nelson covered pretty much everything we're trying to accomplish here. Just if I'm available, if there's any other further questions.
Okay, thank you. Anything
Thank
for the contractor commissioners? Okay, anything else, Mr. Mickle?
No, that'll do it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll open it up to public comment. Anybody else wishing to speak on this matter?
Members of the public, please use the raise your hand feature or dial *9 if you're calling in from a phone. Chair, no members of the public have indicated they wish to make comment on this item.
Very good. Public comment is still open. Public comment is still open and closing. Public comment is closed. We will bring it back to the commissioners. Mr. Evans, why don't you start it off?
Yeah, I think it's very understandable what the applicant is attempting to accomplish. I would prefer not to have a wall there. I prefer those kinds of corners to be open and a little bit more sightlines, but I understand the need and we've got a signal there. So as long as traffic is okay with it, I don't see any issues there. I'm just a little uncomfortable with separating the landscaping from this. To me, it's all one project. I would prefer to consider this as one project, including the landscaping. It's just odd to me to have it separated. If the rest of the commissioners don't have a problem with that, I'd much rather see the project move forward, especially based on their need, but I would sure prefer to just see it once.
Thank you, Commissioner Silva. Commissioner Hun? You're muted.
I have no issue with this project, so, I'm all for it.
Very good. Commissioner Dodson?
Yeah, I'm in the same opinion as Commissioner Hun. I have no issues with the project at all.
Vice Chair Spalletta?
Yeah, it is a tough situation. I agree with Commissioner Evans, and it don't want to break it up with the landscape, have it all done nicely. You shouldn't have to put up walls, but then you do have the transients issue, and then I always worry about just some of the problems that a wall could present, but this seems to be like the solution, so I have no problem with it.
Thank you. I wish I had the same as you guys, but the reason why is I see that Broadway is our gateway to our downtown area, and that's the only reason that but since it's still just going to be a 3-foot wall, I can kind of okay that. I would have liked to seen it kept 4 foot all the way around, so it doesn't look so much like a prison yard, especially with those pointed things on top on the steel. But if the rest of you have no problem with it, I guess I'll just I'll go by with it. But I just don't, there's several things they're doing on Broadway that you're wondering why we haven't gotten a nice general plan of the area so that we can see exactly what it's going to look like coming down there, and hopefully try to match everything that, as far as fence wise goes through. But that said, do we have a motion?
I'll move to approve it if somebody can give me the number because I don't have it in front of me.
Okay, it's BAR 2108. Fence exception application FE 21-03.
Okay, I move to approve BAR, what was it, 2108?
Correct, at 1104 Broadway.
And also 1108 Broadway, at 1108 Broadway.
1104, but close enough.
1104. Okay.
We just want it right on the minutes. Do I have a second?
The fence exception needs to be in there too.
I did. FA 21-03, right?
Right, that wasn't in Keith's comments.
Oh, I'm sorry. Keith, can
Okay,
you
I
add?
also move to approve fence exception 21
03.
03.
21-03. Very good.
Yes.
Doing great.
You're doing great, Keith.
Thanks.
Do we have a second?
I'll
Second.
second. No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, Don, you can go ahead and,
Roll call.
yes, please. I'm sorry. Tired.
Commissioner Hun,
Aye.
Commissioner Evans,
Aye.
Commissioner Dodson,
Aye.
Vice Chair Spalletta,
Aye.
Chair Owens.
Aye.
Your motion passes unanimously.
Very good. Okay, item C, discussion item received guidance from Planning Commission regarding potential amendments to applicable sections of the Seaside Municipal Code to change restaurants and counter services from a use which requires a use permit to a permit use in the CMX commercial mixed use. Staff?
Hey, this is Beth. I just wanted to have a discussion on this because we're receiving a couple of applications for counter service restaurants. And some of you may have been around and remembered when this code was initially changed. So counter service requires a use permit, whereas a restaurant, if you have a waiter come and give you your food versus you going up and picking it up from a counter, is a permitted use. I really don't see a difference in those two. I think the initial idea was that it would be further scrutiny on fast food restaurants in the city, which at that time were being discouraged through regulations. And also accessory alcohol beverage sales associated with either of those restaurant types requires a use permit. When you think about how we're trying to get more businesses to start on Broadway and the permit process that they have to go through with the city, you could be looking at, two separate processes, both through just the administrative process and then your discretionary process to start a business. And I honestly don't see the difference between counter service and wait service. And if you could go to the next slide, the one finding that would still need to be made for the alcohol, which would be the public convenience or necessity determination. I highlighted some things that you can kind of peek at on your own. What would change if this isn't part of a use permit is that the applicant would still need to provide city staff with a decent amount of information regarding their use as well as their application with the ABC. And we would be in touch with the ABC to communicate our finding regarding public convenience or necessity. Overall in the city of Seaside is overconcentrated, period. That's not going to change unless a bunch of businesses disappear. That is both for hard liquor sales as well as for restaurants serving alcoholic beverages, whether that be beer and wine or that also be cocktails, for example. And then the next slide. The use permit required findings for both the counter service restaurant and for the alcohol sales. These findings can be kind of generic. When I think about if I'm going to move forward with a counter service restaurant and it requires a use permit, how am I going to justify or provide evidence for these findings? A lot of them are essentially reiterating the statement itself. Yes, the proposed use is consistent with the general plan for these reasons. It's a permitted use with this discretionary approval. The site is suitable. Yeah, it's in a shopping center, includes enough parking. There's no issues with it. And I'm just wondering where you guys stand on this, because it would really streamline the process for new businesses in the city, as well as reduce the workload that staff is going to be taking on with reduced staffing and time to bring forward things that might not require quite the scrutiny that we like to see for other permit types in the city. So please have this discussion and provide us with some guidance on if you'd like to see a code amendment on either counter service restaurants or alcohol accessory to such a restaurant use. And a reminder that in the West Broadway Urban Village, Both of those restaurant types are permitted, as is alcohol beverage sales. So that's a little bit more leniency in that one section of the city. Does that really make sense to have it easier in an area that we're trying to attract? Or are we really trying to attract businesses everywhere? So I'm going to sit back and enjoy as you discuss and share what you would like to see.
Very good. Do we need to open this up to public comment?
It's a discussion item. You're only providing directions, so no, you don't.
Okay, very good. Just want to make sure. I've already made a couple mistakes tonight. Okay, commissioners, let's hear what you have to say on this. Personally, I don't think there's a problem with counters. I just don't know about the handout of alcohol. You know, I know that restaurants need it. It's an essential part for their making it in a restaurant. You know, to me, as long as they're serving food, there's not a problem. What do you think, commissioners?
I have no problem with either service. I mean, we've just gone through a period of a year in which pretty much every restaurant in town offered only counter service, and many of them are also offering alcohol, and nothing dramatic happened. I'm totally in agreement with Beth that we should be helping these businesses stay afloat and putting extra burdens on them in terms of new requirements is at that, and ones that specifically do not really address an identified need. We need to stay away from that type of thing.
Thank you, Commissioner Dodson. Commissioner Silva.
He's not here.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Evans. You can tell I'm tired.
You know, I wish I was as handsome as Will, but anyway, I'll take that kudo. You know, I was in complete agreement with Beth all the way through, and then when she said that it was already this way on Broadway and it wasn't this way in the rest of the city, I just thought that makes no sense. So that just iced it for me. I mean, you know, all three strikes were home runs for what Beth was saying, in my opinion. I'm all for moving forward with her recommendation.
Thank you, Commissioner Evans. Commissioner Hun?
I have no problem with it. So I agree with Commissioner Dobson, what he said. You know, we're trying to support local businesses and bring in more business. So I have no issue with it.
Vice Chair Spalletta.
I agree with streamlining the process and attracting the businesses. It's something we've needed to do. And so anything to move forward, I'm all for that.
Very good. Do I have a motion? Oh, no, this isn't a motion. This is just a directive. My bad. Still making those mistakes.
I was going to say, you're just on a roll, man.
Been a long day.
You're doing great.
Very good. Okay, Beth, do you get what we're coming from?
100%. Thank you.
Very good. Just checking to make sure. Okay, so we'll move off this item. We'll move to reports from commissioners. Come on, commissioners, you got to have something to say. How's your go-kart thing or whatever it is over in your area?
Well, you know, it's funny, after the police department gave us the final decision and even got concurrence with the CHP, the owners of the children, or the owners of the go-karts with children riding, they just called to complain to the HOA. You know, it's like, we were the bad guys, so we'll see. So far, they've done it a few times, but it's tailed off. Hopefully, when school starts, it'll completely be gone.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that you're getting something out of that, because I would be upset also if they were racing up and down my street. Anything else, commissioners? Danny?
I have one. Yes, I have a question. You know, by the Sherman-Williams painting, you know, they're putting pipes and stuff. What they're doing up there, you know, they're clearing the area, you know, where the Military Avenue, the hill right there on Military and Fremont. I'm kind of curious what they're doing there.
I believe they're putting in a gas main.
Gas main? Okay.
At least that's what I saw them doing when I was walking. But maybe Beth could give us, or Dana could give us a more accurate. They may be doing more than gas. I don't know.
I don't know, but we can follow up with the engineering department to see what exactly is going on down there.
I believe that's part of the Monterey Road closure, and what they're doing is they're replacing a high pressure gas line, and it curves right down there, you know, where the school street goes. So I believe that's all one of the same project.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Commissioner Dodson, anything?
No. Although I am a little curious as to how the city feels that the 4th of July continued attempt to try to control things a little bit on the 4th of July and the days before and after went.
Well, I know that's on the budget tomorrow night for the council meeting.
Okay, never mind that.
Vice Chair Spalletta?
Got nothing.
Okay. I concur with Commissioner Dodson. I watched this crud till 3:30 in the morning here up at my house when the booming kept waking the dog and myself up. And I can see them not doing so much in the early hours up till say 11 o'clock. But after that, I didn't see one police car, and they were shooting rockets off everywhere around us. And not once did we even see one policeman come by. To me, they dropped the ball big time.
I think I heard something about the usage of drones and maybe and citations the next day. Maybe they were gathering evidence. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, well, maybe our police need to be on bicycles where they can't be seen and catch this stuff. Like I said, I don't mind at early hours. I can deal with it as long as the city can, but 3:30 in the morning is a little ridiculous to hear those big things here exploding.
Yeah. Well, my understanding was it was supposed to all cut off at midnight, but that obviously didn't happen.
No. But and these big booms, I don't know what they're from, but
and we still had some last night.
Yeah, us too.
After midnight. Yeah.
Very good.
Okay. Everybody's aware that we're losing our police chief, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't last very long, so.
What, 4 years? 5 years?
Well, he tried for did he get that Oakland job?
No, I got San Leandro.
Oh, San Leandro, yeah. We just seem to be a stepping stone for everybody. Same with our building manager or our others. Anyways, I have one question I'm sorry. You said you had nothing, Mike?
Yeah, I'm fine.
I have one question for staff. How come the Avila building that was just finished on Broadway didn't come through the BAR?
Which building is that?
It's the one where they cut half the building away and then built another big building attached to it. It's right down.
The daycare building.
The daycare.
My memory on that one, and I can follow up tomorrow with more details, is that they did get a use permit.
Yeah,
but I don't recall whether or not it went to architectural review. I think it did, but it may have been when it was the former board.
Yeah, because I don't know who would allow the back of a building to face Broadway the way that building does.
Yeah, especially since it's part of redevelopment. Yeah.
Exactly. And to me, it looks like the rear of an apartment building is what it looks like, facing a street that's supposed to be our commercial street coming into the city. Very disappointed with that it didn't come to us, because they started on that when we were in charge of BAR. I watched that whole thing as I walked up and down, and to put it to where there's no nice windows on the street side, it's all tiny, looks like bathroom windows or maybe even office window, but it sure isn't a good design. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm pretty sure, John, that we reviewed it as a planning commission. Oh gosh, 2 years ago. It's been a while.
We actually reviewed it twice.
BAR.
Right.
Pardon?
So it did get a permit then before the BAR was in our hands.
Yeah, it came back to us once after we approved it because they had gone beyond their time frame to start it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember there was a second appearance by them.
Okay, this is why I would like to see a general plan for that whole area. Some kind of a design that we don't end up with buildings facing the opposite direction when they should be facing the street that is obviously our entry into the city itself.
Yeah, I can provide a bit of clarification on that. So there is not a specific plan for that portion of Broadway. There's a specific plan for the West Broadway Urban Village, which essentially falls in between portions of Canyon Del Rey, kind of moving up behind Palm, and then in between Fremont and Del Monte and Broadway, and a few streets up going and covering the courtyard where Public Works is. And then that specific project, I think, yeah, we all are kind of having a recall of what happened. It did go to the Planning Commission for the use permit, went on to the former separate Board of Architectural Review for approval. And I do recall there being concerns with it being a daycare center with the safety of the children. So there's a huge play area in the middle where they really wanted to secure and block that off. And then there are two housing units to be rented out at affordable rate to staff persons who work at the daycare center. How that played into the design, and if some things were a necessity that don't look too appealing, but it's more the function in this case over the form. That's my memory and how I can kind of explain it.
Very good. Yeah, well, hopefully we can cure that on the next one, because I just think even if it isn't in the downtown area, it's the road that a lot of people will take from up there off of General Gym coming down Broadway. And I would definitely like to see it a lot more with a lot more architectural look to it.
Yeah.
Thank you, staff. Appreciate that. Anything else, commissioners? I have to fire up so I can get my numbers here. Reports from staff.
I don't have any.
Dana, anything?
No, I do not have anything either.
Okay. Did you guys ever look up why we don't have a guardrail on the Ord Grove house that we allowed the garage to become a deck? The posts are all sticking up. They've got lounge chairs, everything up there, but it's not finished off yet. And I was just wondering if that was signed off already.
I'm sorry, which property could you? No, I haven't. Could you remind me of this?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the address. Anyway, it's right at the bottom of, or not the bottom, but the middle of Ord Grove. I think it's Waring Street and Ord Grove, maybe not. I'd have to look it up, but we approved a complete home renovation with the garage. They enlarged the garage, master bedroom on the house and everything. And the rooftop garage is a deck. And I just noticed all these posts sticking up, but there's nothing attached to it. It's empty in between each post. And you see them already using it.
We'll follow up and see if we can get a potential address from any of you tomorrow, and then we'll check in with the building official at that stage. That's in his hands, and that doesn't seem like something that would be an accidental,
Yeah.
mistake to slip by on.
Very good. Thank you. And if you need to, I'll get you the address. I'll walk that way tomorrow if you need to.
Yeah, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
Okay, I'll give you a call, Beth. Okay. Is that all from staff?
That's all.
Very good. Thank you. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
I moved to adjourn.
Very good. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Okay,
second.
all in favor? Yes.
Yes.
All right, guys. I'm gonna go take a nap. You guys have a good night, and